Just thank you to my colleague that just recorded the session for me. Yes, just to let you know that we are going to record today's session, just for the teachers that are on class at the moment and that can't actually get to the computer. So at least that will enable them to be able to access the session if they need to. So a huge thank you for sparing half an hour of your time today. Hopefully by the end of the session, you're feeling a lot more confident about using ProConnect in your classroom. Just a little bit about me. My name's Belinda. I'm a school teacher. I'm on leave without pay from the Department of Education. I'm familiar with everything that happens in the classroom. I've been in the classroom for 15 plus years, but just taking a bit of time out, extending myself professionally and working for ELB Electroboard, and have learned so much about this awesome software, which is completely for free for us teachers to use in the classroom. Now, given the situation at the moment and how difficult it is for us in general in the classroom when you're creating content for 30 little minds that are completely different, but at the moment to have to create work inside the classroom and outside, etc. This package, Prowise Presenter, is just an awesome tool to be able to use right now with the remote learning and the social distancing requirements. So I'm going to assume that you know about Prowise Presenter and that you've tagged into one of the little components within Prowise Presenter, and that is ProConnect. Now, so you've got Prowise Presenter, which is the educational application, and under Prowise Presenter, under that umbrella, if you like, is ProConnect. Now, that's what we're spending time on today. ProConnect will allow you to push out activities to the students remotely, and even if they were in your class, you could push some out to people remotely and push it out to the students within your class. People from anywhere can connect as long as they're connected through ProConnect. And again, that's completely for free too. So it's going to be really, really exciting. Now we're going to have a half an hour session here, and I encourage you to participate and play along. So thank you so much for joining us today. Now, as I said, I work for ELB Electroboard, and everything, which is a Prowise partner, and everything that I put on today will be recorded on and put up on our Facebook, our ELB Electroboard Education Australia Facebook. You may receive an email for you to be able to access this, having joined the session already today. But if you haven't already liked our Facebook, you might want to go on there and like it so that you're updated regularly with lots of professional development sessions, again, which are for free, and resources. A great place for you to share resources between other teachers and chat regarding everything education. We've also got our LinkedIn there too. Okay, ProConnect, an awesome tool that you can use anytime and completely anywhere. An easy to use application you can access through your device, you can access through a computer, you can access from not only a mobile phone, but for example, your iPad or any Android device. So it's absolutely wonderful. And I'm creating my virtual classroom today with you. I've got people connecting from probably lots of different places in Australia. So it's wonderful to have you connecting today. And we're all going to connect today through ProConnect. Now, what I can do when I use ProConnect is I can share my screen with you. And I'm going to do that today. Whatever I create here on my device, I'm going to share with you and ask you to contribute. I can also post out voting options as well. I can get you to answer true or false questions, yes or no. I could do my evaluations. I could give you some post-assessment questions. There's lots of possibilities, and I can do that through ProConnect, through a voting option, and I'm going to do that with you again today. Another great thing that you can do with ProConnect is that there's so many ready-made teaching tools, literacy and numeracy, and I'm going to push them out today. I saw a few lovely names within our registrations today that may have already joined one of my previous sessions. So I'm assuming today you're just getting a bit of a refresher, and that's wonderful, but you might see some of the options here and some of the examples that I may have given last time, which means you'll be an expert by the end of it, which is great. So let's start with a share screen. But just before we start with the share screen, how do you access ProConnect? Now, what I did when I inserted got into the application, I simply Googled Prowise Presenter. So I've gone in here, access Prowise Presenter. I've logged on here on the top right-hand side with my name. Now I can access ProConnect in two different ways. If you see where I'm scrolling right now, Here I'm scrolling and I can access ProConnect. Now that's all the students would need to do, is to click on ProConnect. They don't need an account. All they need to do is click on ProConnect from the browser. Your other option, for example on my phone, is I've got the ProConnect app. And if I access that ProConnect app, whatever you see on your screen right now, I'll be able to access simply through my app. Now you can get the app for download from iPhone and Android. So access that if you like. You can also get your students to access it. So it's a simple click of a button and they're already at ProConnect. Really great idea if you're using the application, possibly P to 2. Any children older than that can obviously just go in and access ProConnect, just like we did here from the browser. They simply click on ProConnect and all they'll need to do is enter this information, which I'm going to model for you how that is all done. So just showing you here again, if you're at the home page, click on ProConnect, and what you will then open is you'll open this option here where you will need to put in a code. Now, the code you're going to generate yourself, but now let's have an example of this session. So we've talked about the possibility of the share screen. I'm going to create a task today and I've got a few that I'm going to push out to you. You're going to send me back responses. I'm going to save all that information and I can use it for my own reflection on my session today, or I can use it for assessment if you're a school teacher and you're looking at gathering the data. Great thing about ProConnect too is that you're able to push out your data into Excel. A really great way to see all your information there and use it for assessment purposes too. Okay, so as the teacher, you're going to create a task. Now I've used all the tools within Prowise Presenter. I've used some writing tools here. I've inserted some media from the bottom here. And I'm assuming that if you're connected today, you've got a good idea of Prowise Presenter. And I've got some images here. This is just one example. I could push this out to the students and the students could give me their responses. I'd learn a lot about their mathematical capabilities for just a simple question. But today we're going to participate in an acrostic poem. I've created my page. I've simply just created my learning intention for the students. I've used some tools here within my media. I found a scroll and I've just tried to make it look nice and attractive so that the students can participate. Now I've just left here an example of some results that I saved when I did my example. Now I'm going to ask you in a moment to push out an acrostic, to push out your acrostic poem just with your name. But if I go over to the results, this is someone, myself, that has previously sent off some work. So this was mine, and I just put in an acrostic poem about Belinda and just put in some words that described me, and I've simply pushed it across. That just shows you how you can actually save data. If you were using this for assessment, it'd be perfect. You could bring up all of your students' work. So as the teacher, I've created the session. Now I'm going to invite you as my students to participate in the session. So I'm going to ask you all to please go to ProConnect. Whether you go through the browser or whether you've got that already on your phone, just simply put in your name. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to access and create a code as the teacher. So I'm hoping that you're all doing that now. And I'm going to go over to ProConnect, which is just over here. So if everyone can just have a look at this scrolling symbol that I'm touching at the bottom. It's like a piece of paper with lines and an arrow at the top and an arrow at the bottom. And that will show you the ProConnect symbol. Now I've got my work ready. I'm going to push it out to you as my students. I'm going to click on ProConnect and I'm going to simply start a session. So I've gone to click and start. I already had a previous session up there, so that's why I've just created a new one. So I've just activated a code, and now that is the code for my participants to enter. So I'm going to join it with you. So if everyone can please put in the code 0375 7108. And I'm going to press join. Now what you'll get is you'll get a scrolling symbol just to let you know that we're waiting for the teacher to start the session. Now I can press OK or the X and I'll still be connected to the session. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to ProConnect now, and I'm going to look at my participants. We've got Phoebe connected, and we've got Sarah, and we've got a few other people that are choosing not to connect, and that's fine. They're just simply watching it from the side, and that's great. And you've also got me connected at the moment. So that'll show you who is connected. Now, for anyone that comes in late in the session, I can simply close this, go back to ProConnect, and I can open up my code again to get people to register and connect into the session. So if you are still interested in connecting, 03757108. Just give you a second. So that's the wonderful thing, is if students have come into the session late, or if they're working from home and their family wasn't able to join them straight away, you can always connect anyone else up. So I'll just close that and go back to my participants. And I've got these participants connected. So now let me show you how I'm going to share my screen with you. Close that, back to ProConnect. I have an option to vote, but right now during this session, I've got an option to share my screen with you. So I'm simply going to click Share Screen. Now, if you go to the top right-hand side here, you'll see I've got an option to click Share Screen, and I'm going to do that with you. So I'm going to click Share Screen. I now, on my device, have got the exact image that I'm sending out to you at the moment. Your option to write your acrostic poem. So you've got lots of tools there. I'm going to ask you, if you can, to click on the text tool and possibly write your name and some lovely words that might describe you. You might give yourself a nickname, or whatever the case is, at least you'll get the idea. So my nickname is B, and I might just be a bit quicker if I just choose to write some words to describe me with just a B-double-E. Remember, you can play with font size, you can play with font color. There's lots of options. So if you can just do that, and then when you're ready, just send it to me as the collaborator of the session. So just a few adjectives to describe yourself. And then when you're ready, please just press send. Now you'll see I've got two people's. I've got mine that I've already sent. It's just here on my device. I've got two people's that have been received. So I can go over and I see Sarah is sassy. Bet you are, Sarah. I've seen you in a few of my sessions, so it's lovely to have you again, Darwin. And you've also got mine, Belinda, energetic, easy and fun. So you can see that just a simple, I'm not too sure if our other lovely participants are going to send anything, but currently just waiting. But you get the idea there. Now what I can do is, while this is up, I can organize a live connection. So what I might do is click on this right, I'm just on the side here, I can go to live connection. I'm going to choose one of my participants, my sassy participant, and ask if Sarah can keep writing. So Sarah, can you please keep, either you can use any of the tools within there. You can start writing anything else. You can start typing, you can start drawing, use whatever tools you want, but just so that our audience can see that you're actually working live. And you'll see in a second if Sarah starts writing. I can also get someone else to do the same thing. I might just actually do it while Sarah's doing it. I might do it as well. So I've got my work here, and I might just go over and draw a smiley face or something. And you'll see that I've sent that. So that's awesome. So you'll see I've actually just drawn that live all the time, round and round. So that's awesome. So thank you, Sarah. So you can see that Sarah's got hers here. I've got my example here, but you know what I can do? I can save the results in the presentation, and Sarah's still going. Sorry, Sarah, I had to stop you there. But Sarah, you can see, is actually going. Now I can give her instant feedback at that time, and I can say, well done, Sarah, or have a bit of a think about this. So you can give instant feedback, which is an awesome tool for you to use in the classroom, or while the students are working remotely. How wonderful to be able to give them instant feedback and support them while they're learning. So that just gives you an example there. Now I'm going to close this, but I'm going to continue and show you something else. Now I just modeled an acrostic poem, just a simple literacy activity, but there are other options like I showed you. You've got some mathematical tasks, depends on your learning intentions, or whether you're creating a joint spelling list. Lots of options there for you to get the students to push images or to push words, lots of possibilities. Now that just shows you a share screen. Well, how about voting? And I'm going to get you to vote in a moment. Now, if you haven't connected in the last session, maybe you'd like to vote with this session. Now, like I said, there's lots of possibilities getting the students to give their opinions on something, true, false, yes, no, or whatever the case is. Get the results and save your data for assessment. Now I'm going to do that with you now. Now, create the task. All I've done here is I've inserted 3 lovely images, and I'm going to simply get you to vote. Here's one lovely example. Now the Prowise Presenter application can be used for students from primary to higher ed. So I've just given an example here of how I can change that content to make it very simple. If I was to push this out to you now on my device, I'd have a blue square, a green square, and an orange square. Very simple for little people to just be able to choose the color that they like so that they can participate. Now, what I could actually do is instead of the students actually doing that, I might get them to choose a possibility of A, B, C, D. And here they might have to answer a true or false question. But let's actually go to an A, B, C, D, or A, B, C question. Now we're discussing global warming here. We're going to have a think about, and I'm just going to get you to give me your possible answers. As average global temperature rises, is it A, average precipitation increases, B, precipitation decreases, or participation is unchanged? So possibly have a think there. And I'm going to show you as the teacher how I can get you to vote. Now, what a great possibility after you've done an assessment or a unit of work and you want to push this out as an assessment. I'm simply going to go to ProConnect, but what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to get you to vote. I went to share screen last time, but this is a vote option. So let's go to vote. Top right-hand side is where my option now comes to start voting. Now I'm going to get you to vote multiple choice here. Now remember, before I was modeling the animals, I could have gone to color and get you to choose a particular puppy. That's how you can play with the different levels within the application. But this time I'm giving a multiple choice question, choosing A, B, or C, and I'd like you to have a bit of a think, and I've pushed it out to you. Now on my device, you'll see I've got an option to give you an A, B, or C. So if you can give your answer and just send it across. For me, as the teacher on the right-hand side, I'm going to go over to results, and I can see that we've got an A and we've got someone answering 2 Bs. That's just a little tiny group. So I can save this data straight away. So if you were my students on the other side and we wanted to keep this completely private and confidential because the data was just for yourself, you can simply do that. Because we're adults, I'm going to go to the list of participants and you'll see here what people have answered. Phoebe, Belinda, and Sarah. You can see who may have possibly answered A or B. Now the correct answer is actually A. What I might do though is I'm just going to show you, go back and change your answer. And you'll see that the data will change. Okay, awesome. So it just shows you that you can actually move from A to B, just as simple as that. And you can again save the results in the presentation, and I can do that now. Perfect way to keep that data with while you've got the students, pushing off their information and their learning, and you're continuing with your lesson. Depending on what you create. Now, there's a few other tools here. There's some literacy tools and some numeracy tools. Now go back into the presentation software, into ProConnect. We've already voted. We've gone to a share screen. Now there's an option for tools. Now, while we're all already connected on ProConnect, you'll see that I've just got a scrolling symbol here, and you'll probably have the same thing on your side. I'm just going to go to tools. So many different possibilities. I can push out a word cloud, a mind map, or some maths tools. We've got collaboration tools, competing tools, but what we might do is, let's have a look at a word cloud. So I'll push out a word cloud, but just by simply opening it up. Let's assume we've got a topic and we're thinking lockdown. Now, maybe we're brainstorming our thoughts or our feelings with regards to lockdown. You saw how simple that was. I'm going to push out start. on your device, you're going to have an option now to push out your thoughts on lockdown. So if you can push them off, that'll be wonderful. And you can see that we're getting some options. Okay, awesome. So you've got a few lovely people. Self-care, eating, cold, relaxing, boring, easy. As a teacher, I can go over to the word cloud and we can have them scrolling as well. If you put in other answers, so if I put in again, I might just put in cold a few times. You'll see that it changes color. The size actually gets possibly larger. I'm just putting cold in a few times as well. So you'll see that that's a main response from the students. So still giving that a bit more. Excellent. I can see someone's putting a bit more of fun. So I've put quite a few responses for cold. So if you're seeing that come up a lot of times, obviously the students are, have got their thoughts in that, and that's a main topic for discussion. So that just showed you just a simple tool here, and that's just a word cloud. But let's move on to another possibility. Why don't we take you now back to ProConnect? Let's go to tools. Let's go to, let's have a bit of fun and we'll go to a monkey swing. Now this will just be addition and subtraction. We'll just go friends of 10. We'll go addition. In a moment, I'm going to press start. You'll get some mathematical questions on your device. If you can answer them, you're going to see a bit of a mathematical thinking here with our lovely participants, Phoebe, Belinda and Sarah. It looks like it's only going to be between Phoebe and Sarah. Phoebe's quite competitive today, but Sarah is on her way. And as you answer your questions, your monkey's climbing. Now, if you had a camera connected in your classroom at the moment, it would be awesome. The students in their home will be able to see this content. Okay, well done. We can be able to see this content as you're able to see at the moment on your device. You'll be able to see that, Sarah's coming second there, Belinda's at the end, and Phoebe's very competitive. But Sarah's still climbing, so well done, Sarah, go. So a little bit of fun. You can push up to 50 questions. You've got some literacy tasks, you've got some numeracy tasks, and that just shows you that it all can be done through ProConnect. Now, what I might do is I might just stop the race there. Phoebe first, Sarah, and then Belinda. If you had other participants, you would have other winners and they'd be just here at the bottom. So that just shows you those ready-made teaching tools. So what we've done is we've had a look at share screening, a simple possibility. We've looked at voting and we've looked at some interactive literacy tools, which are simple to create and push out to students through ProConnect. Now remember, all I did was ask my participants, yourselves, to go into ProConnect and put in your name. As the teacher, I simply went over to the presentation software and I generated a code that initially said start, and it was as simple as that, and getting my participants to participate in the activity. Now that is pretty much everything ProConnect. Now I'm actually using Prowise Presenter 9. At the moment, we've got Prowise Presenter 10 and we've got Prowise Presenter 9. What I suggest for these tools and the capabilities to share your data and to share your screen, etc., I would be using Prowise Presenter 9. Prowise Presenter 10 is currently in development, and Prowise are very close to perfecting it. But what we're doing is we're transitioning everything over from Presenter 9 to Presenter 10. And in the meantime, Prowise are keeping 9 around until 10 has got all of that lovely new content in there. So if I was in class today, I'd be using a bit of 9 and a bit of 10. But especially with ProConnect, I'd definitely be using the features within Prowise Presenter 9. And the way I accessed that was I went over to the website, Prowise Presenter, and I simply went into Start Presenter. Then I've got my option of opening 9 or 10. And like I said, today I'd be going Presenter 9. Now, this session, like I said, will be recorded and you will have access to it as being a participant in the session on our Facebook. So please reach out if you need anything or any more suggestions. So happy to work with you and your schools and your colleagues. So please let us know. And that is pretty much everything ProConnect. But we have a very small group today compared to the hundreds of people we had last week. Looks like lots of people are going back to school, and that's fine. What I would love to do is maybe just open it up if there's anyone on the panel that would like to ask any questions, because I see that there's been a few questions in our chat feed. It is only a small group, so really happy to stay on and help you if anyone has. But actually I might just leave anyone if they'd like to show their lovely face in the video, or just simply ask a question. Okay, I've got a question here. Have you created in Presenter first and then, and so what you do, I have got a question here saying, would you create it in Presenter first and then open it in ProConnect? And the answer to that is absolutely. I created all this content before, and then I just simply invited you to connect. So I just went to Presenter and created my work. If we were studying Australia or colonisation or whatever the case is, get in there, get into Presenter, use all the wonderful tools in Presenter. There's YouTube videos, there's images, there's 3D models. If you're using Presenter 10, there's so many exciting things you can do. Get all the homework all done and make your page look exciting and engaging. Link sounds, link videos, do lots of wonderful new things, and then simply connect the children to ProConnect and give them the option to share their screen with you or get them to vote. Now, if you haven't attended a collaboration session, collaboration is awesome. And if you have a look on our Facebook, I'm going to run a model of using a collaboration session within the next few weeks. So have a look at that. Last week we ran something on pushing out a quiz. So there's lots of options there. So that's just to answer that question for you. I've got another question. Yes, you are able to use, so I will be able to use this so much. Can you stop the students from changing the pages? And no, that's fine. So when you push out the work to the students, if you're sharing a screen with the students, like for example, I shared my acrostic page background with you. That's all that you'll be able to access. The students will not be able to access anything else. The only other thing that if you were sharing the whole file, so for example, if I was sharing this now with Phoebe, she would have access to my whole file. But if I'm simply just getting Phoebe to connect through my ProConnect session, I'm just simply sharing one page with her. I think that the question that my other participant might possibly be asking is, if I share my whole file, are students able to access the whole file in different pages? And the answer to that is yes. But if we're simply just using ProConnect, you're pushing out one page, the page you are currently on, to your students. So I hope that answers that question for you. It doesn't look like we have any other questions at the moment. What I might ask you to do is please stay tuned for the Facebook. There are lots of other webinars. We are going to have this fortnight, twice a week. Our next webinar will be on Thursday, and I'm so open to suggestions on anything that you would like. You and your team at school might be interested in anything in particular as a group, something that you might want to do with your community. Please be in touch with me through our Facebook and just say, oh, look, we're really interested in a session on this, etc. Or please contact me via email as well. And that's b.mchale@elb.com.au, or again, just put a note on our Facebook. Really, really happy to have connected with you today. Thank you so much for a session. Thank you for connecting. Please pass this on to any colleagues. We're here for teachers. We're here to support you during this time, and really happy to make a contribution to education. I know I'm completely committed to that, and especially to you teachers working so hard, you know, during this time. In general, our efforts are amazing, but especially at the moment with what we're dealing with. So thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon and keep safe, everyone. Thank you. Bye.